So if you're in a space where no one is really doing much about your craft, I think you have to do that much for your own self to push your hustle. So last year I did something different where I had my show which I titled One-on-One Poetry and Conversations with Linda Gabriel, where it meant every Tuesday we're performing at Maestro and I'd feature 2 or 3 artists in the evening, and we did that for 23 weeks. So it was a season on its own, just like where you watch a series and you know there is The Good Wife season 1 with 23 episodes. So that's something I did as well. And you just have to be pushing your hustle, and you just have to be looking at how can I do things differently, or what will make my brand sell. Because imagine if I'm doing the same poems, the same performance, the same style over and over and over again, who will come to my show, or who would want to be associated with my brand? Because at the end of the day, you just know, oh, we can recite the same poem with you all the time. Here and there, it's good to throw in your old pieces, but if you perform them differently, if you give them a different feel, the next time you see me with the band, the next time I'm doing a collabo, the next time I'm doing something different. So I think this is where our poetry should be going, to places where we start experimenting. What's the experiment that will come up with me if I am to collaborate with a musician? Where will poetry go if I'm to collaborate with a contemporary dancer? And I think that way, that also allows us to grow our audiences. If I take my work to a dancer, people who love dance get to be attracted to my work because I've gone to the medium that they love best. So they might say, oh, but we didn't know of Linda Gabriel. We now know of her because she has collaborated with a dancer. Maybe next time I do a show, they will come to my show saying, hey, but we watched your poetry was good. So we have to be exploring. We have to be along to see movements where you can have like a quartet for, let's say, 4 sisters who are doing dog poetry and they're performing from one venue to another, curating their own work, than for us just to be individuals. I've watched in South Africa, you have like 6 women producing a show and they go on tour with it. You have 4 guys. They're doing it in the US where poets, they start their own movements, they curate their work, they rehearse, they write together, they perform together, and they make things happen. And from there they can publish their own book where 4 poets are featured in this book, and it's self-publishing. So I think at this point we have what it takes as Zimbabwean poets to push our own hustle and to do it differently and to take our work to different mediums. Like now, I'm a resident poet for ZFM Stereo, where my poetry will be read and be used at a show in the evening. So as much as the DJ is also playing music, the audience who are also listening and who follow this program, they also get to hear my poetry. So if people love my poetry and they hear me during the night, I think it's something where I've taken my poetry just from stages to also radio. So I think we have to be looking at how else can I make my work get there. When I come back, I want to look into how do I get my poetry on TV? How do we do that? How do we become different? How do we diversify? How do we make a killer show? How do we make an out of this world performance? I think this is what we're supposed to be itching for. There's more that can be done, and I think we have what it takes. It's just for you to take your guts and believe in yourself and say, hey, I'm gonna do it. So it's try it and test it. You might try it, test it, and it works. Good for you. If it doesn't, find out why it didn't work and do it better, correct your mistakes. So it's always try and error. Who knows? I mean, in 2014, we did a show with a friend and we said this show is going for $10. We sold 76 seats at $10. People came to our show at $10 in the middle of winter during World Cup. What did we do differently? So it's how do we package our shows? Concepts, create concepts, work on something, build up on that, and do something different. Create the magic. Love your hustle, love what you do, man. So my tour is starting on the 11th of May up to the 9th of August. So if you're in Europe, I got a Schengen visa which allows me to be in 26 countries. So all you need to do is you book me up for a gig, a performance lecture at your university, or a workshop with some of your students. I'm very open to doing that. I'm very also open for collaborations. So if you've been looking for an African poet to collaborate with, I'm your girl to go to. But also if you're home, you have to be watching, you have to be following me. I need you to keep updated at what am I doing, what's new, what's cooking. So these are some of the things that you should look forward to from this tour, but also look out for my other collaborations that I'll be working with. I'll be working with a dancer, and I'm gonna do my EPK whilst I'm in Europe, and there'll be lots of videos that I'll be sharing and lots of poetry to be made during this tour.